everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. I had a request from one of my subscribers to make a gingerbread fold-it card. So I do have the gingerbread boy die, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a fold-it card with you today. I'm probably gonna use this die also to make some other type of projects, so keep on watching and we'll see what I can come up with. But this die, it basically makes an A2 size card. So it will look like the gingerbread boy as you see here on the front cover, and this is a Stamps of Life product. And the die comes with these die pieces. This makes the shadow layer or the outline, which is also the base of the card is the larger die. And then this smaller die will be the piece that goes on top of the A2 size card. So if you look at this picture, you can see that there are two layers on the outline of this gingerbread man, and the outer layer is the large shadow layer or the A2 base, and then the front layer where it has his face and his clothes, that is this die. So we'll show you how to make that today. And then all these other little pieces, you can make his outfit come with it. So we do have his face, you can do the eyeballs and the mouth. Also have his overalls, and then for the buttons, bow tie. There's also a die, oh, it's on the back here. So you got pocket, you can do a heart-shaped, and a star. So you can do that for his clothing if you wanted to, you know, put heart pockets or the regular pockets, however you want to do that. And then this piece cuts out all these little white pieces that you see here, and I actually had some extra because I did use this on a project that I previously did. So that's what these look like. They kind of just look like frosting, and you can cut them out in any color cardstock that you want. I do like the white just because it looks like the white frosting, and you can put them on his body to make it again look like frosting. So that's what the die comes with. So we'll go ahead and get started on making a card. All right, so I'm going to start out with a piece of the Ginger Snap cardstock, and I am going to fold it in half. It's just to smooth out this paper. Okay, so now I have a half of an 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to take my largest die, and on the die, on these folded dies, there's always two spots that say place fold here or place fold here. So you can either have the gingerbread man folded open from the top, so it'd be open from his head, or open from the left side. And I am going to choose to have it open from the top. So that means that I need to place my fold so that the die is just above that fold. And to save paper, I'm just going to use the left side of this paper rather than right in the middle. That way I have all this left over that I can use for another project. So I just want to make sure that this die is not directly over top of the paper, but it's a little bit above the paper because we don't want to cut it all the way through or else it's not going to fold for us. So I'm going to take some washi tape and I'm going to tape this die down to my page so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. So when you run it through your die cut machine, make sure you run it through a couple of times because you are trying to run it through two pieces of cardstock. So I already ran it through, and now I'm just going to peel back this washi tape, and this is what I end up with. So I've got my gingerbread man folded. He opens from the top, and I'm not worried about this little piece of cardstock that came up when I did the washi because it's going to be covered. It's going to be covered with the next layer of paper, which is what I'm going to use to cut out this with this stuff. So for the front piece that's going to be put on top of that piece, I'm going to use the same Ginger Snap cardstock, and I am going to run this through my die cut machine. And I'm going to run it through 2 times because I want to have a front and a back. Since this is a folded card, you will be able to have a front and a back to this. So I'm gonna run this die through 2 times. All right, so here are the pieces that I'm working with now. I have my 2 layered, these pieces are the layering pieces that go on top of the actual card. All right, so you can see that if I just layer it on just like this, the cardstock, since it's the same color, there's really no contrast, I should say. I mean, the only thing that you can see is that this front layer, it does have a little bit of a line in here. But what I'm going to do to add some more contrast is I'm going to take my Ginger Snap ink, and I am going to just put some ink, and I'm using just the layering piece, and I'm just going to put some ink on the edges of this Gingerbread Man. All right, so I added a little bit more ink, and I wanted him to look like he's just coming out of the oven and he just has some crispy edges. I think that's super cute. Do any of you make gingerbread cookies for the holidays? I've never made any. Maybe I should. My daughter, she wants to be a baker when she gets older, and I should convince her to make some gingerbread cookies for us for the holidays. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and attach these to my base, my card base. So I'm just gonna use some glue to do that, and just gonna outline this in some glue. And that's gonna go on just like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the other side. All right, so now we have the start of our folded card. Okay, so we've got his front and we have his back. And you can decide which you want to be the front, which you want to be the back. It doesn't matter, because at this point they're both identical. So now we are ready to, let me get that picture again. We're ready to add his clothes and put some frosting on him. So these would be his overalls. So you can use, in the picture it shows just a solid paper. I like to use the pattern papers because I just think the pattern papers are just so beautiful. And then we also have his face. So I'm going to take some powdered sugar of the cardstock for his face because I want his eyes and mouth to look like frosting. So we're gonna do the white. And then obviously with the frosting pieces that go here, I'm also going to do powdered sugar. I'm going to die cut that out because I want that to look like white frosting. And then we'll pick some pattern papers for his clothing. All right, so I'm going to do the face in the powdered sugar, and I'm going to do some of the frosting in the powdered sugar. And I only need to do the face one time because I'm going to have the front side and then the back side. Obviously we would not want the face on the back, so that only needs to be die cut once. I've got the pockets and the bow tie, and I'm going to use some of the strawberry cardstock. I need to do the bow tie once and then the pocket twice because he's going to have 2 front pockets. And his overalls, I'm going to use a piece of the plaid. This is the blue plaid pattern paper, and this comes from the Joyful Collection paper pad. All right, so I'm going to do the overalls. I need to die cut those 2 times because he's going to have the front and the back. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and start assembling. I went ahead and die cut all my pieces. So I'm going to start out with his overalls, and I'm just going to assemble all of these with some liquid glue. die cutting out paper buttons to apply for his shirt, I'm going to use some of these epoxy dots that I got with one of the Stamps of Life card kits and just apply some buttons this way. I think it adds a nice look. It adds some dimension to the project. So we're going to go with that. Okay, so we'll add those in green. I think those turned out super cute. So one other thing that I want to do is, I noticed that at the top of his overalls, there's a little mark from the die cut that is just a round circle, just like his eyes. I'm going to die cut this die out again on the powdered sugar to get 2 more of these circles to apply, to glue down here at the top of his, to make it look kind of look like suspenders. And I'm doing that twice because I'm going to need for the front and the back. All right, so let's go ahead and glue these onto the front. And then we're going to flip this over and we are going to decorate this guy on the back. So let's go ahead and add his clothing here on the back of him. And we'll go ahead and add these little circles. Look like they're holding his pants up. I don't know if we need them on the back, but I think it'll just add a little bit more character to the back. So we'll go ahead and add some hair to the back of him. We're not going to need to decorate any of the front with the buttons or any of that, or the back with any of the buttons or any of that, because when you're obviously wearing an outfit, you don't see all of your buttons from the back of your outfit, right? All right. So there is my little Gingerbread Man folded card. So when you look at him from the front, he's all decorated, nice and cute with his little outfit. He has some frosting on him. And then I didn't put a sentiment, but you can put whatever sentiment you want on the inside. And then the back is just a back view of him. And I did add all this frosting to make it look like hair on him. So I think that turned out super, super cute. Okay, so next card that I want to make with you is going to be the Gingerbread Man on a, we're going to try something a little different. He's going to be on a gatefold card. So I have this die. This is actually one of Stamps of Life's old gatefold dies. This is one of my framelits, but Stamps of Life re-released this, and I'll link the product below of the new release. But this is what I have, and this is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to make a gatefold out of this. Let me see if this is going to fit. No, I'm going to need to get some bigger paper. All right, so I've got some bigger paper here. I'm using the strawberry paper, and I am going to die cut this large die 2 times. How many pieces do I have here? Oh, look at that. I had 2 pieces. I don't want 2 pieces. All right, so I'm going to just trim this down. Actually, I do want 2 pieces because this piece is not going to be enough. It's not wide enough. So let me hold on to that. And we'll die cut another piece here. So just trim that down so I can run through my die cut machine. And I'm going to die cut this large piece 2 times. So when that comes out of the die cut machine, you're left with these 2 pieces, and there is a score line in here, and you're just going to simply fold on the score line. Fold that in half right at the score line. You can use your bone folder to smooth that out, and you're going to do that for both pieces. All right, and then to attach these, you are going to put glue. I'm going to put glue on this bottom one, and then I'm going to attach them just like that. So let's go ahead and add some liquid glue. And I like using the liquid glue because if for some reason you don't get it perfect the first time, there's room to adjust. Otherwise, you're going to end up going through multiple pieces of cardstock and die cutting in order to get it just right if you happen not to get it the first time. So just make sure everything is even. Okay, so there's my gatefold card. So it opens up in the front along the center, just like that. Okay, now I am going to make a gingerbread man, but this time I'm not gonna do it as a fold it. So when I run it through my die cut machine, I am going to run this large piece through just like that. It's not gonna be on the edge. I'm not placing the fold. I'm not folding the paper. I'm just die cutting it on top of the paper just like that. And then I'm gonna take the smaller die and I'm going to die cut that layer out as well. And once I've done that, I am going to ink up the edges like I did earlier, and then I'm going to die cut some of these pieces out with some pattern paper. So I'm gonna do all my die cutting and then I'll come back. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting these pieces together. So I am just layering on the gingerbread man, the 2 pieces for his full body. I already inked up the edges like I did in the previous card. So those were inked up with the Ginger Snap Stamps of Life ink. And I cut his overalls out of the red plaid paper. It's from the same paper pad, which is the Joyful collection. Die cut the pockets and the bow tie out of the spearmint paper, and I'm going to take some of the peppermint paper from the pattern paper pad, and I'm just going to cut down some of these peppermints because I want to use them on his clothing. I know I want to put some for the pockets, I should say on top of the pockets, just as decoration. And I was thinking about using them as buttons, but I need to see if the colors are gonna blend too much into the red shirt that he's wearing, because if they do, then I will just do something else for the buttons. Either die cut the buttons or use some epoxy dots. So I'm gonna just cut a few of these out and I'll be right back. All right. So we're just adding all of these pieces to him. And I'm going to add these red peppermints. Actually, yeah, I was gonna do foam, but I'll do foam on the buttons. So those are gonna be just decoration on his pockets. Just clean up some of that glue. So in the pink buttons, I'm just gonna add a little foam just to raise those up just a little bit. There he is, isn't he cute? So you can make this guy look however you want to, so many different ways, just depends on, you know, the pattern paper that you're using. So now we need to come back to this card base that we created, the gatefold card, and we are going to incorporate him on here. So now I want to add some layers in pattern paper to the front panels of this card base. And since I have the old die that Stephanie had released a long time ago, it did not have the panels for the dies to cut out. So I had to cut my own. And I took some pattern paper, and each one of these panels is 2 by 5 3/8. Now, if you're interested in purchasing this particular card, there is the Stamps of Life re-released this card, and I'm going to pull this up on my iPad so you can see it, and I'll link it below. It's the Gatefold A2 card die. So it's the same thing. You still get the A2 dies to make the card base, but in this, what's neat about this is you also get the dies to cut the panel pieces out, okay? And again, I'll link that below. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add these to our panels. So I cut down a card base, and this is for, actually it's not a card base, it's a card layer. It's gonna go on the inside of my card, and I'm gonna use the Candy to Share, and I'm going to stamp out a peppermint So I've got 2 peppermints. So that's the outline of the peppermint. And now I am going to, actually I guess I'll continue to use this tool. I'm going to take the stamp that looks like this, place it on the inside, and I'm going to use my strawberry ink. And we'll ink that up. Flip this around. See, is that gonna, no. There we go. And we'll ink this one up. And that's gonna go on the inside of the card. All right, next I'm gonna take this Merry Christmas stamp. This is from the Christmas Tree to Stamp set. I'm gonna place it there in the middle, and I'm gonna use my spearmint ink to get this one more time, because I see that there's a spot on there that didn't get. And that's gonna go in the center of the card. So we'll add some glue to the back. And put that right in the center. And this cute little gingerbread guy is gonna go right on the front. And I want you to notice that when I set him on here, the center where the gatefold card opens is right here where his legs are separated. So I'm gonna add glue only to this portion, so the left portion of the gingerbread man. And when I adhere him, he's only gonna be adhered to this side, okay? All right, so we'll press that down really well. So here's my card with the Gingerbread Man, and when you open it up, Merry Christmas. I didn't want to put a sentiment on the front just because I didn't think there was any room without covering up this cute little gingerbread man. So I just added him in the front and then put the sentiment on the inside, and I think that turned out super cute. So the last thing that I want to share with you is I'm going to make a one of those box it type cards or gift holders. And what I did is I went ahead and die cut and put together 2 of the gingerbread men. I did not show those on camera because it's the same process as the previous 2. So again, I just die cut the single layer. We're not doing a folded, it's just a single layer gingerbread man, and I did 2 of those. So I have the shadow layer, and then the top layer here I did do the ginger snap inked the edges up, and I use this paper that I used is from the Mary collection paper pad, and the red is the strawberry solid paper, and I die cut that for the pockets and the bow tie and the icing here, as well as the face and these 2 dots here. And for the polka dots on his bow tie, I just used a white gel pen and I just added polka dots there. And then I added some epoxy dots for his buttons. And I did that times 2 because when you're doing a box it gift holder, you need 2 of the same die cuts, just as you see here. So the die that I'm going to use to put this all together is the box die. Looks like this. And I am going to die cut that out of the Ginger Snap cardstock, and I will be right back. So this is the piece that I get from the die cut, and notice that there are some score lines going across the top, and there are score lines here in the middle. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fold along all of those score lines just to get my folds going. Very easy to fold. You don't even need your scoring tool. Now to put this together, you need to add some adhesive, and I'm just using double-sided tape. And it needs to go on the finished part, which is this part facing towards you, because that's what's gonna press against the gingerbread die cut, okay? So it's the actual finished looking part facing towards you, not on the inside. And just add some score tape. You can do glue if you want. It'll just take a few minutes for it to dry. It's up to you which adhesive you want to use. But I'm going to go ahead and use the tape. All right, so you're going to do that to both sides, and make sure that your adhesive is sticking. If you're using the adhesive tape, just make sure that it's going to stick really well. So you might want to press that down. I'm just using my bone folder just to press that down. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay one of the gingerbread men flat on the table. I'm going to start taking the tape off, just the center one. And I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to, let me hold this up a little bit so you can see. Just making sure this large center square is in the center of the gingerbread man, okay? And then that's going to press flat against him. Okay, so making sure that's centered. And then you're going to take off the rest of the tape, and as you do, you're going to bring this in as you press. And you want to make sure that it's not extending past the gingerbread man, his body, so make sure you're coming in so that it's not shown past his shirt. And just keep taking the tape off and pressing down. Until you have one entire side complete. Okay, so when I look at it in the front, it doesn't extend beyond. So you can see how I have it here. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the other side. And then just press down really well to make sure that's adhered. And that's what it looks like from the front. Now you're going to do the same thing from the other side, taking this other gingerbread man. And again, you're going to start with the bottom center. And I think I'd probably line these up, making sure that they're the same height. So if you stand it up and press it down on your table, you'll be able to make sure that they are the same height, because if one is shorter than the other, it's going to be lopsided when it's standing. Okay, and then just come in and press down to stick that really well. Okay, and then once you have that centerpiece glued in snugly, then you can come around and you can do the rest. You can undo the rest of this tape. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and press down really well, making sure that fits snugly. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the other side. Okay, and then come in and press down. I think I'm going to stick my bone folder in here and just press down really well. Okay, and then there is my little box that you can use to put goodies in. And that's what we're going to do now. Now, you could have, this is pretty long, you could have cut one of these sections off if you wanted to do that. That's up to you, but I did not. All right, so I'm gonna fill this with some grass. I have this green colored grass. I think it matches these buttons perfectly. So to incorporate just some more of that green in there, I'm gonna use the green and just put some of that grass in there. I don't know. I think I got this for Easter one year. That's why it's such a springy color. Okay, so added the grass, and then I've got these candy canes, and I'm gonna stick some candy canes in here. And I like how it's really deep. So because I didn't cut any of that off, it's really deep, and it will hold these candy canes, and it will make it so that they do not topple over. So I'm just gonna add some more candy canes, because the more the better, right? Maybe we'll put some on this side. Isn't that super cute? Let me zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so you've got your gingerbread candy cane holder. You can give that as a little gift. So you can see it there from the top. I think what I'm gonna do is put some in the front just to make it so this grass is all spread out. And then you can see from the bottom there. So I think I'm gonna give this to my daughter. And then my son will wonder where his is, and then I'll end up having to make another one. But I think that turned out super cute. All right, so just to recap really quick, I've got my box set, little gift holder with my candy canes. On the front and the back is this cute little gingerbread man, okay? And I have my flip it card, so when you open it up, and I need to put a sentiment in here, but there's my flip it card, and then my gatefold card with the fold it on the front, open it up, and it says Merry Christmas. I think they all turned out super cute. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, Lisa Mears Card Designs, and I'm also on Instagram. You can check me out on Instagram where I post all pictures of my creations. I'm also on Facebook, so please go ahead and follow me if you like what you see. Leave me a comment, and if you have any questions, let me know that as well. And until next time, bye-bye.